Hello and welcome to the Rose Garden of Secular Energeticist Global. If you're watching this for the first time and you don't know what the Rose Garden is, it is an acronym. It is the representatives of Secular Energeticism. And Secular Energeticist Global is the name of the group that we've created here. So, and Secular Energeticism is the name of the perspective that's pretty much being offered. We're here today to talk about Matthew 10:10, Travels of an Awareness, and specifically to talk about Chapter 2, The Lost Philosophe. Now, we always have to say, especially in these introductory videos where you're just seeing this for the first time, this is not religious. Always have to say that. This is something that everybody who's into secular energeticism would know automatically, but I definitely have to say, Matthew 10:10 is my name and my birthday. It's my little bit of fun in this very serious subject matter. So, Travels of an Awareness is the important part of the title that reminds us what we are, and that is traveling awarenesses. So, you come to understand what that means exactly as you get further in the book, most notably Chapter 5. So, today we're going to talk about Chapter 2, and that's about me. Really, it's about my journey through life and how I came kind of from an outside perspective into this life, into this nation, into this world, or I was basically put in a position to be kind of on the fringes, on the outside looking in for most of my life. So I was adopted. My mother traveled me around the Western Hemisphere of the planet for the first 3.5 years of my life, and then dropped me off in California where I had new parents, and I was on the coast in a beautiful place outside of San Francisco. And very shortly after I was adopted, I lost a friend, and that brought up a lot of questions as I had to go to his service. And then another friend I didn't lose, and in fact many years later, after writing this book, I got that friend back. Not the original one, but the one I'm about to talk about. This other friend, when I was about 9 years old, he would go to catechism, and he'd come out a different person, of course, because he's learning this stuff, and he comes out, and it was just noticeable to me as a child that something was different. And so these types of encounters early on in my development set me up to be very curious. Then, from California, I got uprooted and moved to Alaska. So I, again, lost everything that was familiar to me. Friends, geography, processes, temperature, climate, you name it. I was also a soccer player at that time, an all-star, and I was moving from a place where soccer was very strong to a place where, well, it's Alaska. What are you going to do? I mean, you kick the ball around in the snow, but still, things went well up there. Going to Alaska, I had to find all new friends, face all new challenges, face myself and my strange upbringing. I almost got into a lot of trouble before going to college. So with that curiosity and going to college, I didn't do your typical college thing, which was study some subject so that I could make a bunch of money. I wanted to understand existence. I wanted to understand myself. I wanted to understand the human brain. So I took psychology and I took philosophy. I took many other subjects, including biology, chemistry, physics, calculus, trigonometry, anthropology, evolution, world religions, geography, geology, and more. Biological psychology. I was working towards some neuroscience stuff. And of course, huge regimen of psychology and philosophy courses. And I did all of that with a focus on existence and understanding this place that we all find ourselves in. Why is everybody, calling me black and white? This was something as I was growing up, and it didn't ring right with me ever. So as I grew up, I just kept seeking information. And in this story, we are currently, with me in college, just studying everything I possibly can. I went to college in '93, and I graduated with way more credits than I needed in '99. So it took me about, I think it's 5.5 years. And with all of that, I think it was right around 97-ish, 98, I had some serious epiphanies, some things that could be perceived as revelations. But kind of all of this information started to come together. I talk about how I could see the whole entire universe in fast forward motion and rewind. It all kind of started to come together to make sense. And I was working on these things. I wrote papers about energeticism, about us being the energy of the universe, interacting with itself as we're doing right here, right now. So by the time I was done with my first degree, I had a really good formulation of what existence was, what it is, and that was good for me at the time. At the time, that's all I wanted. I just wanted to understand myself. And when you're in college, you're surrounded by people who are avidly seeking information. So when I got out and started talking to people, I found that a lot of the information that I had studied was not well known. And I thought I was just being brought up to date with information that everybody would know. But that turned out to not be the case. And so I waited about 10 years after graduation, and I continued to listen to the way the world was working with itself, listen to the continued sexism that was going on, the racism that was going on, the disdain of education, the lack of understanding of government, what it is, what it means, what it does, and many other issues, especially issues that are based on complete misunderstandings. Some of these issues are not even real. They're not based in any sort of actual reality, such as race. There's no great description for dividing one person and another. Skin color is not good enough, and you can't say that a person's one race just because of their skin color, because all over the world, that skin color is not the same race. And then you incorporate a religion into race and say that that's a different race. So obviously race is not clearly defined. Anyway, big problems. Me going through school and studying all of these things, coming up with a formulation, I waited 10 years to listen to everything, to watch everything transpiring. And within that 10 years, I realized, you know what? This perspective needs to be shared. I had to go to school and spend a crap ton of money in order to study all of this stuff, and to understand, to simply understand our current position with our best knowledge. So something about that's not right. We often talk about people being ignorant, and it's not so much that they're ignorant. It's more that they don't know. They don't have the information. Sure, they might not be curious, but even if they were curious, the information's not readily available. You have to go spend thousands of dollars studying philosophies and all of these different subjects: astronomy, stars, physics, how things move, chemistry, what we're made of, mathematics, how to measure everything, and those thought processes anyway. So I felt a responsibility, an obligation, because I'd come up with a formulation of a full perspective that answered the questions, that said, hey, we're universal beings, we're awarenesses within a brain, that's all we can know, and it's 100% true that we are awarenesses, that we exist. And it comes from René Descartes: cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. So we know that we exist as awarenesses. All this other stuff we're surrounded by, that can't be us, because we are witnessing it anyway. Back to chapter 2, and to just tie it off, I suppose. So in 2007, I had completed this book, I had lots of articles and essays written about the perspective, lots of notes, journal notes. I compiled everything, brought it together to try to present something to the public that was, for lack of a better word, easily digestible. Something cohesive, something that your average person could read. This is not written in highly technical terms. So, I wrote a book, and the factors in my life and the society that I was surrounded by kind of forced me to share it. And I knew that people would need it to be easy. In order to understand existence, you actually don't have to go to school. You just have to have it presented in the proper way. So, that's what I did. Circumstances pushed me to that point, and now, beyond chapter 2, as far as I'm concerned in this whole endeavor, it has been 13 years since writing this book, and I've developed a ton of stuff in the background. I've cultivated myself to be able to talk about it relatively fluently with pretty much anyone. And in these videos, I want you to get the sense that it is relatively easy to talk about these subjects, these chapters, this perspective. So I hope you do find it easy. It's been a long journey for me, and I am the Lost Philosophe. Thanks for watching.